Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit record. Welcome, students, to our February field day with Hartnell College. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We're going to start with some introductions. So, students, if I can have you turn your cameras on briefly for this part, that would be appreciated. And we can go ahead and start with Daniela. Just go ahead and introduce yourself, your school, and your grade.
Hi, my name is Daniela Rodriguez, and I am a junior at Greenfield High, part of Greenfield Epic.
All right, Samantha, would you like to go?
Yeah, my name is Samantha Oliva. I am from Gonzales High School and I'm a sophomore.
All right, can you guys go ahead and turn your cameras on when you introduce yourself? Jose, you're up next.
My name is Jose Mendoza. I'm a junior at Greenfield High School.
Anaí?
My name is Anaí Benavides. I'm a junior at Gonzales High School.
Thank you. Diego?
Hi guys, my name.
Oh. We actually didn't hear you. Do you want to try that one more time, Diego? Yeah? Okay. We'll move on. Jasleen, are you there?
Hi, I'm Jaslyn Rodriguez. I'm 16 and I go to Gonzales High School.
Jackie?
Hi, my name is Jackie. I'm a junior at Alex.
Good to see you. Thank you. Valeria?
Hi, I'm Valeria Tinoco. I go to Gonzales High School and I'm a sophomore.
Thank you. Vanelli?
Hi, my name is Vanelli Garcia. I'm a sophomore at Gonzales High.
JD?
My name is JD Solis. I'm a junior at Alisal. Yeah.
Thank you for being here. And then who is on the iPhone 6? We don't see your name there.
I think that's my pops.
Your boss?
My dad?
Oh, okay. Mr. Solis, is that you?
Yes, that's me. Thank you.
Okay. And that's our teacher for Alisal High School. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here, and we'll go ahead and allow Belen, Ruby, Martha, and Clint to go ahead and introduce themselves and what they do at Hartnell. Go ahead, Belen.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. My name is Belen Gonzalez, and I'm the coordinator of job and internship placement for Hartnell College. I've been with Hartnell for just over 15 and a half years now. So almost any department you have questions about, I could probably answer something about it or get you connected with the right person. So I'm going to go into sharing a little or introducing you to a few members of our team. I'm going to start first with our student success coaches that are here. And we'll start with Martha Haro first. Would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Martha Haro. I'm a recent graduate from Hartnell. I'm doing my last semester at CSUMB.
I wanted to take this time too. We'll do a quick intro and then I'm going to go back and ask my students a few more questions to share with each of you guys a little bit about their journey. So next we have Ruby.
Hello everyone, my name is Ruby Romero and this is actually my last semester here at Hartnell.
And then we have our Dean, Clint Cowden, with us today.
Hello everyone, thank you very much for spending some of your time to actually come and listen to about Hartnell College. We really appreciate it. I think hopefully you guys are going to enjoy not only this event, but as much of hands-on as that we can do. So We really appreciate that. And again, I'm Clint. I'm the dean of the Alisal campus, also the North campus that we're building just outside of Castroville. And then also I oversee all of career technical education for Hartnell College District.
Thank you. So at this time, we kind of just wanted to share a little bit with each of you guys because we know everyone's journey is a little different on their way to college or to finally getting that degree. I know I have a pretty unique story, but we're gonna have Martha share a little bit about her journey for a few minutes.
So I graduated from Salinas High, and I actually went straight to a 4-year right away. I skipped through Hartnell. I was like, no community college here. So I went straight to a 4-year university, and I had a little bump in the road, and I was like, okay, well, I can't keep going to the university and just, spending a lot of money for not knowing exactly where I was going to go. So I actually decided from literally one day to another, hopped on, went to see a counselor at Hartnell, and I was like, hey, I need some classes. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that I was interested in ag. So I did the worst thing you can do. Don't do what I did. And I showed up the first day of class and I said, hey, I need an ad code. Can I get into your class, please? Kind of thing. So I did that. I got into a couple of classes my first semester here at Hartnell. And even though a lot of people might see it as like, oh, why would you do that? That's such a waste of time. Was one of the best things that I was able to do. I met so many great people through here. And you might be like, oh, well, you're supposed to say that because, you know people, you're very active. No, I wasn't. I became very active with the school my last semester there, actually. So I started to work for Belen and everything. So I kind of just did like a whole wiggle round. I went to the 4-year, went back to Hartnell. I started to take some classes there. And through the career prep and placement services where Belen works, I was able to do a lot of things. I don't know about you guys, but I know a lot of us have like from this background where we don't really travel outside of the state of California unless we're going to Mexico. And that was kind of like my thing. And through them, I was able to go to Chicago. I went to a United Fresh conference out there where I was able to network with a lot of different companies. I met a Canadian company, an ag company called Del Fresco, and I kind of just kept in touch with them throughout like the months, like, hey, like, how are you and everything. Well, later on, I was able to go to a conference here in Monterey called the Food Service Conference. And I was actually able to reconnect with them. And I was like, hey, do you guys need help? Like, I'm more than, happy to help you guys. Like, is there anything I can do? And that kind of like grew into this little idea of like a micro internship for them. So from going from Chicago, reconnecting with them in Monterey, I was able to land a micro internship, which is just like an internship, like a small job placement, but even shorter. So I did a 3-day micro internship and I was able to go with them to PMA out in Anaheim here in LA. So it was just kind of like networking and then reconnecting with them. So I did a lot of a little couple of things here and there where I was able to travel from Chicago to the PMA here in Monterey, to the one in Anaheim. And then after that, since then I became very active with the school, I was also able to go to Washington, D.C. and pretty much talk about the new program that we do have with the connection between Hartnell and CSUMB, the new what is it? I think it's like agricultural plant soil science. So it was a lot of everything. And now, thankfully, I transferred out. I'm doing my last semester at CSUMB and majoring in environmental studies with the minor in environmental science.
Martha, before coming and starting to take classes at Hartnell, how much hands-on experience did you have in the egg world?
0. Imagine someone just dropping everything. A math major. I was a math major before. I was like, yes, I love math. I'm going to do this forever. And I'm going to be a math teacher. And then taking one plant science class. And I was like, hey, no, I actually like this better. I had no experience whatsoever, but like I mentioned, through the resources that we do have at Hartnell, I was actually able to land a job where I'm currently working at right now at the United States Department of Agriculture. So that's where all my classes, all the studying and everything kind of connected, and now I'm at the USDA.
Thank you so much for sharing. Ruby, we'll jump now towards you. Can you tell them a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, so my journey, just how Belen said, everyone's is different. So I am actually from Soledad. I graduated from Soledad High School, and I was a part of Soledad FFA for my 4 years of high school. And then I actually transferred directly to a 4-year university right after high school. And I also hit a bump in the road, and I ended up coming back home to Hartnell after a year. So coming back to Hartnell, though, was one of the best decisions that I have made. I was actually really happy. After starting at Hartnell, I realized how different it was and how it was more of like a community involvement, and I really enjoyed that. So here at Hartnell, I got involved with the Hartnell Ag Ambassadors, and I've been with them for my 2 years at Hartnell. And this year, actually, through some of the friends that I got at Hartnell, I decided to also get involved with student government. So I'm on the team for ASHC, which is the Associated Students of Hartnell College. And I've been working for Belen as well. And just how Martha said, through all of the resources, we really have the opportunity to grow and get to see what's out there. And even though I did have a little bit of a background in ag, I can really say that being at Hartnell is completely different, and you learn so much more. You learn things that you didn't even know about, and you learn something new every day. So,
You want to share a little bit about your internship?
yeah, so I didn't have a job after transferring back, and I went to go see Belen in her office, and that is where I got an internship my first semester at Hartnell. So my internship was really nice because I got to do the things in ag that I wasn't very familiar with. At the school, they have a classroom with simulators, which you guys will learn a little bit more about in our tour. So I got to learn how to drive tractors, not only in the simulators, but in a class that I was taking. And it was really, really cool. I got to learn a lot of things that I didn't know about. We also had an innovation farm where we learned how to grow some strawberries, and I think it was also cauliflower as well. So I learned a little bit more of the plant science industry in that internship.
Thank you so much. So at this point, I guess we could take a little pause. Do any of the students have any specific questions you guys would like to ask me or anyone else from Hartnell?
Yeah. This question's for Belen. How did you know you wanted to do ag? Like, how did you definitely know you wanted to do something with ag?
So I'm like I said, unique stories. I actually went to Sac State, and I'm a criminal justice major. I came to Hartnell right out of college because I moved back to the area. And I have, like I mentioned, I've been with Hartnell for a little over 15 and a half years. And I've worked in a lot of different departments. And I kind of was like, okay, I'm ready to learn something new. And when you kind of look out our doors or windows, anything around here, you kind of see ag everywhere. And so I thought, hey, maybe I should go into our CTE side and learn a little bit more about what our private industries are doing. And I did just that. And so I've been on the CTE side now, so career technical education, for the last 3 years. And although we'll mention a lot of what Hartnell covers at the LSL campus and our other CTE programs, ag is still huge because so many of our companies here are ag related. So that kind of just sparked my interest. And then we'll share a little bit more about just ag isn't just going in and working in the fields or getting your hands dirty. There's a lot of different other aspects of it.
I just have a comment. Students, especially if you're considering going to Hartnell, you definitely want to know where Belen's office is. And I think the ladies are going to show us in the tour. But I did have a question for Martha. Was all your travel paid for? Was that all done through the school? Because I know traveling can be expensive.
Yeah, so Hartnell has a really great program. So everything was covered from flying out and everything, from eating, the hotel rooms, everything was covered. I really didn't have to spend $1, not even 50 cents. I think the only spending that I kind of did do was kind of like knickknacks that I wanted to bring back. But besides that, everything else was covered. My meals were covered, the hotel. If we went anywhere, we had a couple of places that we wanted to visit, so everything was covered through Hartnell.
Great. So students, from what I'm hearing, networking is pretty important. So let's remember that as we continue. Any other questions?
Clint, did you want to share something?
Yes, I do. Belen, have we sent all of these students the USDA summer camps? You're muted.
Right. I believe Celia got them out to all the CTE coordinators, and I don't know if that included all the counselors and everything like that.
Okay.
But if not, I can make sure to share with Letty.
Okay, I'm just saying maybe somewhere here soon. Just in case, if you guys don't want to wait until you come to Hartnell to be able to do super cool trips. Now you have to be able to get like letters of recommendation and actually show that you deeply care about agriculture. So you have to do things outside of normal class time. I think you guys fit that mold. You have to like agriculture. Oh, you're in a pretty good track for that. So Belen can also help work with you guys. Most of them are virtual this year. If you guys hadn't heard, the COVID thing kind of messed things up. But North Carolina, they're still having theirs face-to-face. So we would have to, if you got accepted to one of those locations, I would have to try to find one of my sponsors that could help get the travel portion paid for. But there's these phenomenal USDA research 1 week activities that are happening that, anyways, Belen and the rest of the group can do, and they're focused on high school age students, but having you really break the paradigm of it's not kind of traditional agriculture. Agriculture, and Ruby and Martha are tired of me saying it because they hear me say it all the time, but it's all that really good science, math, all those things incorporated into it. So I'm sorry, Belen, I totally am off track, but I heard excitement there. And I really, in the last 4 years, we've not had one Central Coast high school student get accepted. I only get to see who's accepted. I don't get to see who applies. So we're around to help.
Yes, I'll definitely share that flyer. And then I'm also hosting workshops also to assist students with their resumes, the application process. We go from start to finish. So yeah, I'll share all of that with you after to share out with the students. Do we have any other questions from any other students before moving on to our tour portion? Okay. So I'm gonna ask for, I think everyone right now, like Clint mentioned, the whole COVID thing messed up a lot of stuff. So we're usually pretty good about getting you guys in groups and walking you around our facilities and knowing exactly what to share and not getting embarrassed when you have an iPhone in your face or anything like that. I would say one thing we've learned a lot with here is to kind of have grace and patience with people. So a lot of us decided to become videographers for the very first time in our lives. So there may be some little glitchy transitions or some pauses, but just like we would when we would take you on a tour, we're gonna pause along the video to stop and ask for any questions because, you know, we might be using some terms that you guys aren't familiar with that we just kind of take for granted at this point. So please, if we say a word or mention something you have a question about, I'll pause and you guys can ask that question and we can go into more detail and then we know what to kind of maybe add into our tour later. Ruby, would you like to share your screen and start the tour?
Welcome to the LSL campus.
So here we are. We're kind of just showing you walking right into our entryway in Building A. This is like the main building you would walk into. I know students sometimes for the first time when they're coming to our campus, they're like, where? And we're like, well, you'll see a giant A when you walk right into here. This is our main building where we hold most of our services. So right here, we'll let the students share a little bit more about themselves.
Hello everyone, my name is Ruby Romero and I am doing a double major in Ag Business and Plant Science.
Hi, my name is Martha Haro and I'm a recent graduate from Hartnell College. I did a double major with my Associates of Arts in Natural Science and my Associates of Science in Ag Production. I am actually at CSUMB now doing my last semester, majoring in Environmental Studies with a minor in Environmental Science.
Welcome to the main office. Here you can find the Dean and the Assistant Dean, as well as staff members that are available to help with financial aid, renting books, a counselor that's always here in the office as well that's available to help with anything academically as well as your ed plan. If you're wondering what the Admissions and Records Office and financial aid can help you with, Admissions and Records can help you with registering for classes, any questions that you have with dropping a class or waitlist, and financial aid can also help you with paying for classes, scholarships, or Cal Grants and the Salinas Valley Promise Grant. The Salinas Valley Promise Grant, the California Promise Grant, and much more.
So we'll pause right there. And although we mentioned that we have a counselor always available, we mean that you're always able to schedule an appointment with them. We do have some drop-ins and some in-person things. And I would always feel like if you're a career technical education major, knowing that we have that resource at our campus is huge. So many students that I meet with don't even know that we have a counselor or admissions and records or financial aid reps in our on our campus. So they spend 15 to 20 minutes driving to the other campus, standing in line just to be told, oh, you know, you need the dean's signature from the LSL campus. And then they have to turn around and come back. So the more you know of what our resources are right there. Does anyone have any questions about the main office or?
Can you maybe just explain what career technical education is?
Yes, so I can start and then Clint could always fill in because he usually has better definitions, but just for us, it means a lot of our hands-on type programs. So all career technical education, it's usually just more, like I said, verbiage coming from our chancellor's office and how we get funded and different things like that. But it really covers a lot of our hands-on programs like automotive, diesel, welding, agriculture, early childhood education, allied health, like nursing programs and different things like that. Clint, did you want to add anything?
No, you hit it out of the park. But you know, exactly. So all education is vocational, right? We go to college, yes, to grow up and to be better work, you know, and more well-rounded. But the end of everything is supposed to end in a job. We just tend to be people that we're gonna think about it ahead of time. And we're probably almost all of our classes, you're gonna have something what we call lecture. Means you're gonna go and you're gonna be listening to something. But then we're also gonna have laboratory where we're gonna go and we're gonna start doing that thing that we learned in lecture. And so if you're a person that you tend to learn better or you learn really well by being able to actually do those activities, those tend to be students that are CTE students.
So next, right down the hall from the main office, we have my office, which looking at it, I miss so much. So this right here in room A111 is our career prep and placement services, and Martha will share a little bit more about the resources we have.
Okay, you can actually make one-on-one appointments with the coordinator in regards to any questions you might have, any opportunities that we do have and offer. A lot of companies around the Salinas Valley actually want to do a program through us to have different internships, job opportunities. So this would be the place to go if you have any questions. Usually in person, we would have a lot of tours and everything like that for campuses when you're ready to transfer. Right now, we are looking into doing virtual tours and everything like that for students.
So here we are walking down the hallway, and then we're going to move on to our, I think, our multi-purpose room next, to the right.
So here we have the multi-purpose room where students come and actually hang out, either do homework or anything. Right here we have computers with internet access. You would actually use them to do any sort of work that you might need for your classes and go on to Canvas. On this other side, you have a machine where you can put money into your CAT card, and actually an ATM here. This is the Panther Learning Lab that is available with tutors that are here to help with drop-in or group study, online writing assignment feedback, workshops, assignment assistance, test reviews, reading and writing skills development, study skills, time management, technology help, presentations, and all of these resources are now available online through Canvas.
Okay, so we covered a few different rooms there. When we were in the multi-purpose room, Martha mentioned your CAT card. So all your CAT card is an ID card that you get when you go to Hartnell, and we usually use that. They're reloadable. You could use them for printing services, or you can use them in our cafeteria at the main campus. Also, if you're going into any events to get our discounts, so you use your CAT card for a few different things. Right across from the multi-purpose room was the Panther Learning Lab, and as Ruby mentioned, everything has went virtual, so we still have all of our tutors working. One really cool thing that we started doing maybe a year ago now at the LSL campus is we're realizing that, you know, you just don't need a tutor for math or English. You need a tutor sometimes for understanding how to take apart an engine or different things like that. So we've actually started to embed students who have taken a class and completed it with a good grade. They're actually re-embedded in the class, and they're sitting along, and they act as, if you have a question, they can form a study group with you. If you're like kind of not able to wrap your head around, or you want to make sure you understand exactly what the instructor is doing, that embedded tutor can actually work with you one-on-one or in a group also. So here we are on the second floor now of Building B, and Ruby's going to share what programs we offer at the LSL campus.
Our campus offers a variety of majors, which include ag business, plant and soil science, ag production, automotive and diesel technology, welding, computer science, construction management and architecture, as well as general ed classes.
So here we are walking into our Building C now, and this is where you'll spend most of your time as a student at the LSL campus.
This is Building C, where most of our classes take place, including the computer science classes, labs, wet and dry labs, among the general classes as well.
If you're a construction major, you'd be spending most of your time in this class for your lecture portions. For your lab portions, you would actually be taking your classes on the other side of the building. For example, myself, I was an ag major student, so most of my labs were spent in this class.
This is a simulator room where we have devices such as the forklift, tractor, and truck simulators. All of these simulators work as a real-life experience to give you a behind-the-scenes feeling of how it feels to be in a real tractor, forklift, or truck. This is automotive and diesel technology lab.
Hold on.
If you have any
Sorry about that. So Clint, I'm hoping you're still there. Did you want to add anything about our simulator labs? You might have stepped away.
I think those are new, aren't they? We didn't see them last time.
Sorry about that. But yeah, so the simulators are really an excellent way, especially for those of you guys that have never driven a semi. or a fire truck, or a bus, or a $300,000, excavator, which is all of us, or for most people, right? One of the really awesome things that I like about it is I used to teach heavy equipment, and I would have to try to talk over the engine sound, and I would have students thinking that I was yelling at them, that I was mad at them. And it totally was not mad. It's just you have to talk louder than the objects that you're around. The other thing is when you're running a piece of equipment, sometimes we accidentally break things. And that is scary when you're on them. And so what's really nice about simulation is you can go through and you can start to use and operate that equipment, but it's in a very comfortable feeling. The other thing about it is that we got really good ones that are very similar to military grade simulation. So you actually learn about 5 to 6 times faster than you would if we did put you on a very large piece of equipment. So they're pretty fun.
Thank you. And next, we're gonna share a few shots of our different labs that we have.
Classes in transportation, your classes would be here, and your labs would be out here.
If you're interested in welding, come here to our welding shop where you can learn anything there is to know.
So I haven't seen very many welding labs, but I hear that ours is state of the art. We have 32 different areas for students to work in, and we offer all different types of welding. So I've hosted a few hands-on activities in there, which terrify me, with students in their own little room welding away, but thank God no one's gotten hurt and everyone survived. So this is kind of my safest, I think, hands-on day ever. So do we have any questions from any of the students or teachers or advisors about anything here at Hartnell?
I'm just curious, students, if you can maybe raise your hand if you've ever been to the LSL campus. Maybe turn your cameras on, thumbs up maybe. Anybody?
Valeria has.
Awesome. I think, so I didn't see the farm that you guys have there where you learned how to plant strawberries, Ruby. Was it you, Ruby, that said you did strawberries?
Yes, I did. So actually, after we finished, unfortunately, due to COVID, we couldn't really keep working on that farm. So there wasn't very much left anymore. That's why it's not in the video.
It's okay. Oh, Thomas, you've been there as well. So Thomas jumped in a little bit later. Thomas, did you want to introduce yourself, Thomas? And what school you go to?
Yeah, hey everybody.
My name.
Oh, there's two. Hold on.
Oh,
The
you said
student first.
Tomas. I was like, oh, Thomas. Tomas, go for it, bro.
And then Mr.
All right. My name is Tomas Vasquez, and I go to Alsa High School.
Awesome. And then Mr. Bentley also jumped in on the call a little later. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hey everybody. I'm Tom Bentley, and I'm the teacher at SoCal High School. Thanks for having me. I really have enjoyed the tour so far and hearing from you guys. It's awesome.
Well, if there aren't any questions, was there anything that Clint's, well, we can share Clint's tour too. His is a little more high class with a real actual videographer and, you know, everything cut seamlessly, but we kind of like ours. We're kind of proud of ours. Would we like to go on to the kits now and talking about the experiments and the projects?
Yes, students, I hope you have those kits with you.
So before we get into that, I know each of you guys were provided with 2 different kits. You guys were only asked, you only had to complete one of them. If you guys can rename yourselves by adding a number before your first name about what kit you guys finished. So if you did lesson plan number 1, put a 1 before your name. And if you did lesson plan number 2, a 2 before your name. So we could kind of know who did what.
They may have done both actually. Oh. So let's see.
If they did both, put a 1 and a 2. Does everyone know how to rename themselves?
Oh, some are putting it in the chat.
Okay.
That could work.
Okay, well, the students are going to ask you guys a few questions as we go over the lesson plans. So please, if you completed one of the lesson plans, if you guys can like kind of fill in and give feedback. I don't know if your advisor told you, this is our very first time trying to do this remotely, and putting together these kits was kind of unique, and down to all the recordings and everything, and the typing out the plans where we could usually do and kind of be right over your shoulder and help you. This is all kind of really new for us. So I'm going to share my screen out, and we'll start going over lesson plan 1. Can everyone see lesson plan 1? Yeah, okay. So I think Martha, were you going to start with this one?
Yes. So for lesson 1, we pretty much had 12 seeds in total, 4 for each Petri dish that you guys had. We used aluminum foil, coffee filters, and a pen in your observation log to pretty much go through it. I'm gonna ask you guys, what did you guys see? Anyone want to answer? I don't want to talk by myself. Did anyone notice anything different from the Petri dishes?
Maybe Jackie, it looks like you did one. And Valeria, I think you said.
No? Okay. Well, it's fine. I actually did the experiment myself. I took it home and I did a little test study just to see if they were going to germinate. Pretty much the purpose of this experiment, it kind of depends where you're going to, but for example, myself, I work at the USDA. A way that we would use it would be kind of implementing to see if they're actually going to germinate. What's the germinate rate? Like if we have a high yield, if it's actually going to work. So that's one of the ways that we can use it. The way that we used it in this lesson plan was to see how the environments affect the way they grow. So depending on the color, how much chlorophyll does it have? Does it start to lean somewhere? Is it gonna grow like mold or anything? And for my experiment, I had 3 different ones. Do you guys want to mention like anywhere you guys placed the Petri dishes? Because I know we had 3 different locations. Anyone want to talk about it? Ruby, do you want to mention an idea of a place where you would think to put it?
Yeah, so for the first one that was not covered at all, I would say it would go directly under the sunlight, just how we mentioned. And then for the second one, that one was, I believe, half covered. So the idea of that one was to see how it would be different to full sunlight or no sunlight. And that one, I guess I would put somewhere like on a table that's not too close to the sun, but not completely covered. And then the third one, me personally, I would just hide it somewhere in a closet where there's absolutely no sunlight.
Okay, thank you. Those were great examples. Students, let's see. I'm going to start calling off people and answering. My Petri dish seeds began to grow. 3 seeds. Do you remember how long it took for them to start to sprout? Like as soon as you start to see life in them? Do you know, Jackie?
I think it was like about day 2 when I started noticing it.
And that's actually a really high rate for any seed to start growing. Usually it takes a little longer. So that was something that we were really worried about. We were like, oh, well, how long is it going to take it before it germinates, which means just to start sprouting. And surprisingly, they were pretty fast. They were really good, even though they were from the Dollar Tree. I was impressed. I was highly impressed. So did you see anything different from the 3, Jackie, by any chance?
I think the
first and the second one didn't show that many signs of fermentation compared to like the third one. And I think maybe I was surprised because I thought that since they were like with in contact with more sunlight that they would actually show more growth, but I was wrong.
And by growth, do you mean like the little leaf portions, or do you mean the root?
The root.
Why do you think that might happen? Do you have any idea? Any guess? Anything's fine.
I guess I would say just because they were like weren't as covered and in the dark.
Okay. Okay. Well, we actually, one of our perks that we get from Hartnell is that we get to have a close bond with a lot of the teachers that we have there. We get to see them constantly. So Ruby and I actually met with one of our instructors before meeting with you guys just to run it down with them and be like, hey, you know, like we want to make sure we're giving them the right answers, you know, like the right info. And we kind of talked about, I was like, hey, what is it called again when they do that? And it's called etiolation. So pretty much what it happens is that the plant kind of starts to, how can I say it, work a little bit more where it doesn't necessarily sprout out, but it starts to grow the root a lot longer. So if you would have noticed from your Petri dish number 3 compared to Petri dish number 1, the leaves were out and it was green with a short little root, but in Petri dish number 3, the leaves weren't pretty much out, the cotyledons weren't pretty much out, but the root was extremely long, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did you notice anything in color wise between the 3?
I don't think so. They all look the same from their color.
Were they a strong green, a yellow?
The seeds like stayed the same brownish color.
Okay. For the most part, what happens is that the ones that are exposed to more sunlight turn a lot like a dark green, like a really nice green. And the ones that are covered from the sun tend to like look a little yellow, a little pale. And it kind of just goes off to the nutrients that it gets also. So the way that it works. We had a lot of different examples, you know, and purposes. We kind of just worked with it. Ruby, did you want to add anything else maybe that I missed? Can't remember on the top of my head.
No, I think you're good with that one. Oh, and the observation log paper.
Oh yeah. Does anyone want to share what they found throughout the whole week? Besides
everybody's hypothesis correct? I know Jackie said hers was it wasn't what she expected, but did anyone else make a hypothesis and then was like, what?
What? Yeah. Did anyone else? I know who else said that they did my hypothesis was not correct. What was your hypothesis, Valeria? If you don't mind me asking.
I first thought that that only the ones that had light would grow.
Okay. Yeah, and it's surprising, right? They still grow even in harsh conditions.
And what kind of seeds were they?
So at first we had invested in some tomato seeds, but the germination rate for the tomato seeds was a little longer than we expected. So we actually decided to do some flower seeds, and I actually took a picture. Let me look for it. I went to the Dollar Tree just to make sure that I had the name of the flower. Of course, I don't have it at hand, right? So it was zinnia flowers, and this is how they look. I don't know if you guys can see, but let me put the brightness down. This is pretty much how they look. So if you guys want, you guys can still actually plant those seeds. The root is intact, everything's good. If you guys take it, you can put them in a pot and just take care of them. I wouldn't recommend putting them out just now because it's still pretty cold. It'll probably burn and not grow, but you can still plant them. Do you guys have any other questions? Anything else that you guys saw throughout the week that you might be like, okay, well, why did this happen?
And for students that maybe haven't completed it, I definitely recommend you to go ahead and get started and just that way you can see what we're really talking about and be able to compare.
Yeah. And then a tip for anyone who hasn't done it, maybe for the second one, instead of doing like a half covered, try to cover it completely and just the tip of the pencil, just the tip of the pencil. Put it up where they can actually see the sunlight and see what happens there without opening it out throughout the whole week. So leave it closed throughout the whole week. Just that one, just specifically that one. The other ones, you can open it as long for like Petri dish number 3 that's supposed to be completely covered. Just open it up, but not in a place where a lot of sunlight hits it yet, and cover it again. But for that one, leave it in a neutral place where just a little hole is a tiny, tiny little bit, just the tip of the pencil is showing sunlight, and leave it in that area. Don't move it. Just, have it really moist.
Thank you so much for leading that one, Martha. I'm watching the time, so I think we'll move on to lesson plan number 2 now. Ruby, did you want me to share the lesson plan, or are you okay just talking about it?
I'll just talk about it. It's okay. Okay, so for lesson plan 2, this one was the soil jar test. So this one you should have gotten a jar, a ruler, a marker, and then 1 tablespoon of dishwashing detergent. So this one was a little different. Me personally, this was one of the first labs I did when I took a plant science class. Does anybody have any questions or observations from this experiment?
I have a few questions because
Okay.
since I didn't get a kit, like this is something I really want to try and do. But does it have to be dish detergent?
So actually, we just found out it doesn't have to be. The reason why we put it in is kind of to help set the soil from any like really big chunks of particles that would prevent us from seeing like what type of soil it is. Martha, do you remember what was the other option we had?
Let me double check in our notes, but
I was thinking like the powdered like stuff you put in your washer for clothes and stuff.
Yeah, so that's the one that we used for students. I think what our instructor had mentioned was not to use kind of like dish soap because it gets really foamy and it doesn't work as well as it normally would. So pretty much just using like anything that you would use for washing your clothes, I think would be fine.
Does anybody have any questions or observations? So this one was actually pretty cool because you get to see the difference in the color of the soil. So you can see if like the sand is on the very bottom or if it's more of like a clay texture. And then we also got, and throughout the 48 hours, I don't know if you guys have done the 48 hours, but you really see how those lines change a lot. So I don't know if you guys were able to see that or if you had any questions about the triangle that we added as well.
Last year, Greenfield High offers an ag chem class, which is a soil, I think it's an agricultural chem with soil chemistry as well. So we got to run that experiment last year, and we did it once during school at the beginning of the year with the school soil that we had at the farm, and we saw that that soil wasn't fermented enough to like nothing can grow on that, which explains why our school farm doesn't have much grass. And then at the end of the year, we ran it again with our own soil. And so I noticed that like the home soil that we had here where my mom plants her plants was way more fermented, which explains why her plants are always growing. And then now when we did this one with the ones that you guys did, I have a pig and there's like poop on the area where he's being raised. And so I got a little bit of like that type of soil. And that's why it was super fermented because there's poop all over the place. And so I feel like it gets a lot of composition of all of that grows there. So I thought it was really cool seeing like the 3 different areas and being able to connect this experiment excitement with the other two that I did. So I really enjoyed doing it again.
Yeah, Daniela, that's really good to hear. I'm so happy to hear that, you know, you've done the experiment before, because you really get to see the difference. And prior to actually doing any of the lesson plans, I know that Martha and I had talked about how where you get the soil is really, really it makes a difference in the experiment. So for example, the one we sent you guys in a bag that was from somewhere in Salinas, and if you get it from somewhere else, the soil is going to be completely different. So what did you notice, like, in the color in the one that you did?
And the one that I did, I noticed that it was a lot darker from the rest, um, because the one that we did at the school farm, everything had way lighter colors, and this one seemed to be a lot darker and a lot heavier at the bottom than it was at the top.
Would you say it was more like clay or sand, or which one do you think?
I think it was a little bit more on the clay side. It had a bit of sand in it, but I feel like the clay side was more prominent.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. That was the purpose of the experiment, and I'm glad you got to see the difference with that. Martha, do you have anything to add for this one?
No, I think you pretty much covered everything. I mean, in our notes, we have it. Yeah.
Did you guys have any questions about any observations that hopefully we can answer for you, or did anybody else try doing like what Daniela did with soil from their house? Okay. Martha, do you want to explain the triangle a little bit? Since I know you got to do this one a little more.
Yes, let me look for the triangle and I can share my screen.
So students actually, they got to meet with the RCD not too long ago in regards to, or it was the RCD and the NRCS, and they learned about what happens to soils after fire, so post-fire soils. So they got a kit of multiple different kinds of soils. And I wonder, like, if we had this test, we could have tested all of those. That would have been really cool.
That would have been an interesting find.
Yeah.
So let's click it. Let me see.
So as Martha's looking for that, I'm still watching the time. And just to let you guys know, if you guys send in your observation logs or pictures of both of the projects completed, we have some Hartnell swag to kind of raffle off. So if you do if you send in your observation completed with all your daily observations and your hypothesis and everything like that, that will get you 5 entries into our raffle. And then if you've completed both of the kits that were sent to you and gave feedback about, I know only one of them had an observation log, but you completed your the triangle and sent that in, that will get you another 5. And I can show a picture real quick of what kind of swag. Just no phone. The phone isn't included, but we just wanted to highlight what that was for. It's to hold your phone. But we have a few different bags. We have a lunch bag, a water bottle, and some of our cool egg ambassador hats.
Thank you. So students, send those in. Even if you haven't completed them, please do so.
Yeah. We'll give it about another week, and then I'll touch bases with Lepi, and we'll do the raffle, and then I will get her the raffle items with names, and then we'll get them out to you.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So this was the triangle you guys were working with. Oh, why are you guys, what does it look like this? Can you guys see it? Okay, there we go. So pretty much, I mean, I actually did it by myself here at the house. You know, I just finished with my little jar test. I took the soil from the house. So I had an 88% sand, 4% silt, and then it was around 7% clay. So the way that I would look at this would be, okay, so I have 88% sand. My sand portion is here, right? So it's around here, right? Like say like around here. And then I had a 4% silt. My silt is on this side. So the 4% would be somewhere around here. We go down, we're gonna connect both of them right there. And then I had a 7% clay. So the clay would be here. So around there was pretty much sandy. My soil was like a loamy sand. So my soil personally was a lot more sandy than it should have been, but that's what I had. So that's the way that you would use the triangle, but it does have like the math portion behind it. So whoever hasn't really done the jar test, I think I would recommend them when they're measuring it out to do it in millimeters. At least that's what I was told. That's how I learned it. So I do it in millimeters, and you would just kind of calculate that and then have the total, which would be all three of them added on together, all three will amount the height, and then just multiply it by 10, and that's how you get, yeah, multiply by 100, sorry, and that's how you would get your percentage. And then from the percentage, that's how you go on to the triangle, and you just kind of like look on at the numbers and kind of connect it where they all meet together. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So like I mentioned at the beginning, this is a very unique situation. Any feedback about how the lesson plans were or the kits were put together, if you can share that with Letty or share it with us, it'd be greatly appreciated. But I hope you guys had fun. I thank my students very much. I had to really take them out of their comfort zone and ask them to do this. This is all stuff built from scratch just for all of you. So
yeah, and I do want to share with students that these are things that college students are doing. These are technical skills that you're learning now in high school, right? So definitely complete your kits and send us those pictures and worksheets. And I'm so thankful everybody was here. Thank you so much, Belen. Good job, Martha and Ruby. I appreciate you being here, Clint.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was awesome, guys. Thank you. I appreciate all your help. It was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for expanding my knowledge. Bye.
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 Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna stop recording.